This is going to be a video on my Pink Floyd CD collection. I've done one on my cassette collection, and now I'm going to be showing the CDs that I have, and at some point I'll do one on my vinyl collection. Just a note, I keep not every one of my CDs, but just my favorites in it's like a protective plastic sleeve, just because it prevents the jewel case from getting scratched or cracked and scuffed. And I know some people don't care about the condition of their jewel cases, but I tend to be a little picky about it. So I'm not going to be able to open all of these up, but that's the reason why. First one I have is Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and this is the original Capitol release. This is the 1994 remaster of Piper at the Gates of Dawn. The 1994 remaster of Saucer Full of Secrets. This is the original Capitol release for the film soundtrack More. And this is the 1994 remaster. This is Umaguma, and it's in the fat box. This was the original release of that album. And then the 1994, the remaster came in, it was like a green cardboard sleeve, and there was a cutout just here so you could see the window on the front cover. I didn't find it a particularly attractive sleeve, but when I bought this, the sleeve was really beat up. I bought it quite a few years ago, and I just got rid of the sleeve. Probably regretting it a little bit now, but at the time it just, I didn't really care for it. It wasn't in very good condition. This is Atom Heart Mother, the original Capitol release. And the remaster does not have the text at the top. And a barcode square in the middle of the cow. Not sure why. Somebody probably thought that was clever. And I know Hypnosis actually designed for the 1994 remasters, they actually designed the artwork for all those remasters. So it wasn't just some record company art designer or whatever who made these decisions. It was actually, his name was Thorm, I can't remember his name now, but the Storm Thorgenson or whatever, I'm probably butchering his name. At any rate, he also, for this one, this is the Relics, the remaster, he commissioned an artist to actually build the contraption that Nick Mason did the line drawing of for the original artwork, which is on this CD. So this is the first version that appeared on CD, to my knowledge, back with the 94 remasters. And then a few years ago, this one came out with the original artwork. This is the album Metal, which has the Pink Floyd name and the title on it. And I noticed that the fonts for the cassette and the vinyl and CD are all different. Where it says Pink Floyd and Metal, the fonts are very different for whatever reason. And this is the 94 remaster, which is more faithful to I think the original British album artwork. This is obscured by clouds, and it looks like a hype sticker, but it's really not a sticker. It's actually a part of the artwork. And then the remaster does not, again, have a title on it. And then, Dark Side of the Moon. This was the original Capitol reissue, which of all the CD releases, I think this one has been the most faithful to the, at least American vinyl release. And then I've never liked this original, the prism cover, where they've actually used a real prism. I always liked the original artwork, but in 1994 this became the official version and the other one went out of print. And even in the back it doesn't have the upside down prism, so never been crazy about that cover. And then they did I think it was a 30th anniversary reissue of this where they altered the cover even again. It's a little artier. And again, I've got it upside down. I think this is the double CD version, but it's part of the most recent remaster series, and it's got one disc of the original album, and then the second disc is the Live at the Empire Pool, Wembley, 1974 concert of the full album. Wish You Were Here. And now they're on CBS Records. And then the remastered version. And then the 2-disc, which replicates somewhat the original, I guess it was Mylar sleeve that went over the original cover. And this has got also some live tracks, unreleased tracks, and wine glasses from the original Household Objects project, which was going to be the follow-up to Dark Side of the Moon. It was just going to be a completely, from what I understand, instrumental album where they just used kind of found instruments, things like wine glasses and spoons and anything that wasn't an actual instrument, just kind of, you know, as the title implies, household objects. For animals, this is the original CBS CD. And I noticed the difference on this. On this, it's Pigs on the Wing Part 1, and the 1 is spelled out O-N-E. Same for Pigs on the Wing Part 2, it's spelled out T-W-O. But then, on the remaster, it's just got the number 1 and the number 2. And I'm not sure if the difference is between the American and the British releases, if that's how it was, but this is one of the more recent remasters, and it also has the 1 and the 2 instead of spelling out the 1 and the 2. This is The Wall and the original CBS release. And then the remastered version, which comes in a sleeve. Doesn't have any of the song titles on it. So you have to actually open up the fat box for that. It's a collection of great dance songs. These are disco remixes of some of Pink Floyd's more popular songs. Actually, I'm kidding. The novelty for this album was, of course, the re-recording of the song Money, and then also there's a kind of condensed version of Shine On You Crazy Diamond. It takes parts 1 and 2 and kind of mashes them together. Not the entirety of both songs, but it's sort of an abridged version of each. And then this is the remastered version, which has a slightly different font on the front and the back. It's Pink Floyd Works, which was, I think, a Capitol cash-in release. And the interesting thing about this one is that Fearless actually it fades into Brain Damage from Dark Side of the Moon, which is interesting. And then there's also the song Embryo, which never appeared on an album before. So two things to kind of keep the collectors interested and make that an essential release for those of us who like all things Pink Floyd. This is the final cut, CBS release. And then the remastered version, which I'm not crazy because they shoehorned When the Tigers Broke Free onto this release, and it just sounds out of place if you're used to the original lineup of the album. I'm not saying I wouldn't want this song on this CD, but I think maybe at the end, I'm just not crazy about how it fits in. And they even, when they did the 180 gram pressing of the final cut on vinyl, they also included that song on there. So I just don't think it belongs. I would have put it at the very end after, you know, maybe 20 seconds of silence or something. This is A Momentary Lapse of Reason. And this is Delicate Sound of Thunder, the original fat box version. Division Bell. And Pulse, which actually, I replaced the battery in this a year ago and it is still pulsing, so it's pretty amazing. And then this was another live album, The Wall Live from 1980. And these were the masks that the Surrogate band wore. When they did the Wall concerts back in 1980, the concert started and they had 4 people out on stage wearing these masks, which were replicas of the faces of the 4 band members. And then as a concert, after the first song of the concert, you realize that they were actually imposters. This is A Foot in the Door, the best of Pink Floyd, which is a pretty decent compilation. It's kind of fun to listen to. And then a few years back, they started releasing the Pink Floyd's early stuff, rarities and BBC concerts and things like that. And this is the best of the early years, 67 to 71. And it has things like 2010 mix of Matilda Mother and Jug Band Blues. It has Paint Box. Careful with that Axe Eugene. The single version, which is interesting. And Amagama radio ad and some other BBC sessions. And then I don't have all of these. Obviously the huge box set is very price prohibitive. So I've picked up a couple of these. This one is Pink Floyd, The Early Years, 1972, and they call it Obfuscation. And this is the Obscured by Clouds through the Live at Pompeii era. This one is 1970. It's called Deviation. This has got a track listing that separates from the back of the CD after you take the cellophane or whatever off the cover. And then the last one that I have is the 1968. It's called Germination. And these open up like a book. And there's one CD there, and there's two CDs here. And that is my Pink Floyd collection. Thanks for watching.